And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
Hey y'all, as you may be aware, Oxford has pushed through a Hunger Games UK 15-minute city with a low traffic initiative that is draconian to say the very least. Oxford, if you didn't know, has a council of Labour, Greens and Lib Dems in coalition, and they've gone completely insane with this 15-minute initiative. Now if you didn't know what a 15-minute city or LTL zone is, please watch my video on the subject here and then come back. Welcome back. Now I found the info in the local rag, and I mean rag, the Oxford Mail. 15-minute cities are a prison, a city split into 15-minute sections that have access to everything you need and charges you for leaving your area. Hunger Games, isn't it? Effectively locking you and your entire bloodline, i.e. your family, and their family, and their family, and their family, in situ forever. Does that sound appealing, everyone? Now, they're going to be doing this using high-tech ANPR, which is automatic number plate recognition, costing a cool £6.5 million of taxes. So they're even charging you for your own prison. Traffic filters will divide the city into 6 15-minute neighbourhoods, agrees Highways Councillor, it said the Oxford Mail. Now this was put out for consultation with the people, with a poll, and both came back as not a frigging chance. To the extent where thousands signed a petition against the scheme. Now under the authority's £6.5 million trial, ANPR cameras will scan Hythe Bridge Street, Thames Street, St Cross Road and St Clements 7 days a week from 7 AM till 7 PM, as well as rush hour at Holloway and Marston Ferry Road. Private cars without permits will be fined £70 if they cross their boundaries, with blue badge holders, carers and 100-day permit holders exempt. So you get 100 trips across the border. This is what they're doing. They're putting internal borders in, and you will be charged for the privilege of going into another area. This is ridiculous. And typically you can imagine the council has answered with a huge slap in the face when it all came forward and everyone disagreed, and proved their authoritarian black souls. They insisted the controversial plan would go ahead, and I quote, would go ahead whether people liked it or not. 15-minute cities are the brainchild of the globalist cabal WEF initiative, and backed by no other than the anti-democratic subversion group C40. Now the C40 are led by none other than Sad Sack Carnage, so you can see where this is going, can't you? And they are and this is in their words, a global network of mayors taking urgent action to confront the climate crisis and create a future where everyone can thrive. Apart from car drivers, obviously, private car drivers, they can't, but sod them. Effectively subverting the will of the people, isn't it, everyone? If they can just take it onto themselves to do something that the globalist mayors around the world, which is what this is, are deciding for the people rather than because of the people, this is subverting democracy at the highest level and should be stamped out, in my opinion. Now, this is covering 96 cities across the world, from Melbourne to London and beyond. Well, surprise, surprise, when you tell people that their opinions don't count and you'll ruin their lives regardless, at their expense, they get a bit angry. Before we get into that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this far. Please watch to the end, and I ask, if you haven't already, please subscribe. You can also help the channel out by buying me it would normally be a cuppa, but a beer, because it's Christmas and we're allowed to celebrate, aren't we? Now let's get back into it. Draconian plans to divide Oxford residents into 6 climate zones have led to council chiefs calling the police over extreme abuse. In other words, criticism. They got criticised for telling everyone to sod it, and they're going to do it anyway. They got a little bit of pushback and are calling it extreme abuse. Typical lefty, isn't it? Typical reaction of the lefty. Criticise me, that's violence and hate. Police, help me! Cowards, typical cowards that can't argue the point effectively, so resort to bullying using the state. Now this has erupted in a furious row with councillors bombarded with abuse. I'd like to know what they define as abuse. Probably criticism and scared people thinking they're not going to be able to look after loved ones, or they're not going to be able to run the business anymore. You know, people that have got legitimate concerns. Yeah, those ones. And they've received numerous calls and social media messages from worried residents. In a joint statement this week, the Labour, Lib Dem and Green-run councillors said that they are working with Thames Valley Police to report the most extreme abuse. In other words, they're grassing betting on the people that don't like what they're pushing through, whether they like it or not. It's looking good, this, isn't it, for the left? Some critics have described it as a climate lockdown and like the Berlin Wall. I'd say it's worse than the Berlin Wall, because at least you could see the Berlin Wall and there was a no man's land in between. This is invisible walls, but they're still walls and they still do exactly the same job as the Berlin Wall. They split people apart. This is not community building, this is not climate problem, this is a money grab, because they know that nobody's going to be able to stand to 100 trips a year. That's split between your entire household. So if you've got, say, 2 cars, your missus and you can't both go to work every day if you live in a different area to where your workplace is. This is to lock you down into your area, and it's absolutely disgraceful, and I'm not surprised there's a pushback, and it will only build if the councillors are going to have the nerve to set the police on people and then tell them they don't care if you don't like it. I'd actually say that was the statement of hate and violence, but there you go. Now, obviously, the council is pleading poverty from the Treasury as well, while they're spending millions of pounds on public money on a series of anti-business, city-centric measures, of which this is just one of. Now, there is a petition on this that the locals have done, but they're not paying any attention. So this needs to snowball and snowball and snowball. So pass this out, everyone. I need you to share it so that everyone gets to see just how black-hearted councils and mayors have become, and globalist, because not one of the people in the area they're doing this to want it. Couldn't get much more authoritarian than that, could you? And knowing it comes from the web makes it even worse. But let me know what you think. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it out, stay sane in this crazy authoritarian world, and I'll see you on the next one.